Hey folks, Pallet here. Welcome back to my channel. It is a beautiful day in Minecraft, and we're back for another video showing the updates that I've made in my village building project. To begin with, we're going to start off as we always do here on the treehouse platform, and we're just going to slowly pan over to the left, and I think you can already see some of what we're going to be taking a look at today. I have been spending a lot of time working on that upper level of the village. Now that up there is where I'd been planning to put my gate, main entrance to the city, and we've got the bridge that's leading up there. We've got the barn that is that's set up and ready to have travelers come into town, and I've added a few more buildings up there. So let's just fly on over and we will take a look and see what's new. Now we're going to start back here with the barn. If you saw my last video, I believe we covered this in that one. I've added a few things back here just to decorate it up a bit. We've got a little water trough here on the front. If you saw that previous video, you know we've got a pigsty around back. We've got a chicken coop over on this side. I've gone ahead and done some texturing here of the road. I've actually completed the road through. We've got lampposts. We've got a wagon out here waiting to load in some hay. We've got a little wheelbarrow. I've got a nice little herd of camels hanging out. And one of the new things that I've added is right here. Figured that with all of the animals, with the chickens, the pigs, the sheep, the llamas, what we probably needed was a water tower, some way to store enough water here to kind of pump it up from an underground well, if there is one down there, and provide water. Now, this was based off of a decoration by Jackson Wild. I had a video that had quite a few of these and a lot of really great ideas in there. I did have to modify it a little bit. One of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to have an infinite water supply here, which requires 3 full water blocks. The original plan actually had the trough built a square back, but it was built so that you were waterlogging blocks rather than having full water source blocks. So I modified it a little bit. I made the spout come out just a little further, and I added this chain. But otherwise, Jackson Wild had some wonderful ideas of things that just make a farm come alive. So if you get a chance, check out their video. Now, of course, the next big item that we've got here is the inn. I figured, of course, this being the main entrance to the village, we needed a place for travelers to stop. We already had the barn. We had a place for them to come in and rest their animals, get them fed and watered, and we needed something similar for people, too. So I made the Welcome Inn, and there is a villager up there. I'm really hope he is not planning to jump. Let me just pop back here real quick, because I did modify a couple of things with this building. First off, to give credit where it's due, this is a medieval inn. The tutorial is by Ainatsu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. One of the things that it didn't really have that I thought an inn needed was a fireplace, and we'll take a look at this a little more when we go inside, but I wanted to make this a two-sided fireplace on those cold evenings when you've just come in from traveling miles on the road and you're getting your horse sheltered, you may be getting your wagon unloaded. I figured that those travelers might just want to be able to warm up a little bit out here while the stables are taking care of their animals. So we've added in a little double-sided fireplace. Now the rest of the building itself is pretty much along the lines of what the tutorial showed. We'll come inside, we'll take a closer look at things. Now when we step in, of course, we have a large common area here. Plenty of tables for people to sit at. We've got some candles out, some cups. A couple of plates that on my system just do some weird graphical glitches. I don't know if that's the same for everybody in Minecraft, or if that's just my system. Those are some ideas from the video. Not sure how I feel about them with the glitching they do. You notice if I hold the mouse perfectly still, that stops. It's just some sort of texturing issue, I'm sure. But in here we have a little bit of a kitchen. We got some kegs here, and place to cook, place to wash up a bit. And here in the original tutorial is where they had another table for customers to sit at. But like I said, I wanted I don't know, a little more of an open area for people to gather around a fire. So we set up this little fireplace here and opened this booth up into just a little bit more seating. Now, of course, we go upstairs. Excuse that little hiccup there in my system. Occasionally we get a slowdown. We have plenty of rooms up here for rent. Double beds in some of them, single beds in others. I've added some curtains on the windows. The original tutorial had lanterns hanging. There's one, we can see it right there, hanging outside every window. And I thought, well, you know, that might just make it a little difficult to sleep if you had that light shining in your eyes. Now, right here is the cheapest room in the house. And I thought, appropriately, since this is the cheap room, we'd have a little unsettling picture on the wall, make anybody who's come in to spend the night looking over their shoulder a bit. But the rest of these are bedrooms. I did a little bit different texturing on the walls than the original tutorial had. Now we walk out here, and this is where the villager that we saw was standing earlier, and I'm guessing he hopped up on this trap door and then went up. So I may have to address that. But we've got a nice little view here off the balcony, looking at the rest of the entrance area to the town. Now, one other thing that we've got here is an attic space that is mostly storage, but in addition to the storage, we've got either spare beds, or perhaps these are even the cheapest beds at the house, where people who just only have a couple of bucks to spend can at least get a bed that's sheltered and out of the weather, and possibly, you know, just a warm bite to eat. So this is the medieval inn and tavern that I've set up. Now, one of the other things I modified about this was I added a little cellar entrance on the outside. And if we come down here to the cellar, you'll see that what we've got is kind of a wine cellar, or maybe a beer cellar. This is where the tavern keeper can come down and maybe tap a new keg. Down below here, we have even more storage, including a little brewing area. Maybe they're trying out some new drinks. Maybe they're experimenting a bit with what they offer, but we've got lots of storage down here, lots of barrels, and in this room we've got a couple of giant wine kegs. Now, giving appropriate credit here, the idea for the wine cellar was from a video by Benji. And again, I had to modify some of the dimensions a bit, and I modified just kind of how these storage rooms were laid out a little. The other thing that I wanted to give credit for was the brewing station and the wine barrels were from a video by BB Blocks, where he had a few different ideas like this. Again, wonderful creator out there, lots of interesting, super cool things that you can add to your builds. So, of course, being a wine cellar, we've got a few cobwebs around because I'm sure they don't spend too much time cleaning down here. So this was a combination of a couple of different projects, getting the inn and the tavern and then the wine cellar put together. Before we go any further, I'm just going to run in here real quick and sleep the night away so that we don't run the risk of having any phantoms appear. I do not remember how long it's been since I've slept at this point. I tend to work through the night when I'm working on building projects, so we're just going to play it safe. Now, this railroad, you can ignore those. That's just how I was transporting some villagers up here, and I haven't gotten rid of it yet. So right in the center of the main road here, of course, we've got a lovely fountain. It's lit up to help prevent any mobs spawning at night, and plenty of water coming down. Nice little pool here at the bottom, which, you know, I did forget. Before we leave the tavern completely, we've got a couple of little fish ponds here next to the door, and those were part of the original tutorial. I really like the idea. Have some sea pickles in there to provide a little bit light, so you can actually see the fish at night. But yeah, just little decorative ponds there. So we're going to come over here next. The next building that I'd been wanting to add was a town hall. Now this is from a tutorial. In fact, the plaque is over here. This is another one of Spudetti's builds. And I've got a couple, at least one other of hers here. Um, but hers was for a kind of a grand manor. And I wanted more of a town hall. So I made a few more modifications on this side of the street as well. And, we've got the nice throne there, or maybe just a large chair, probably a throne, and a table. I would imagine that the local council could sit here and discuss things. We've also got just a little bench over here where refreshments can be laid out. Now, here's where I started changing some things up. In the original plan, this had a fireplace and a small kitchen right here for whoever lived in this building. But since I wasn't wanting it to be a dwelling, I wanted it to be more of a meeting place, I added a bit of a hall onto the side here so that we had a place for some of the villagers to gather if they needed to have a meeting, if they needed to get some information from the mayor, that sort of thing. So we've got, a nice little podium up here where somebody can speak from. And we do still have a fireplace. We've got a fireplace with just kind of an open chimney behind it. And of course, plenty of banners on the walls just to kind of warm things up a little bit. And then upstairs in the tutorial, what was originally planned was a bedroom. But again, without this being a dwelling, I wanted something that maybe would draw more people in, so we added a bit of a library. Oh, sounds like the rain has started. We will try to get somewhere, hopefully, where the sound isn't too loud from that. But I set up a whole library up here. In fact, we got a little globe on a stand. This desk area was part of the original plan, as well as like the armor stands. The banners were amazing. The plans for them, the tutorial walked you through step by step, showed you everything you needed to do. Spidetti she is just amazing with her tutorials. Go ahead and check those out if you haven't before. She has just a wonderful eye for her buildings, as well as just a great sense of how to put a tutorial together and show things step by step. So we've got a little bit of storage up here. And since we didn't have a bedroom, I turned this into another kind of a study nook. So we got, some stacks of books around, maybe a little crystal, some candles, and we've got bookcases lining floor to ceiling. So we got a nice little place that anybody that needs to study or just needs to come up and read for a bit can come up and do that. Now, the other thing I changed was right here. This was a wall originally. It had little kind of flower box outside of it. But my next building project was the clock tower. And I'm sure when we panned over here at the very beginning of the video, that was probably the first thing that most people would notice. We've got a very tall clock tower here. This is still a project that's kind of in the works. I'm not 100% complete with this, not quite satisfied with how it looks. I did add a stairwell and a floor in here. The original tutorial didn't do a whole lot with the interior space. The exterior is amazing. There just wasn't a whole lot in here. So I wanted to add kind of a workshop floor, which I still need to decorate, still need to put some tables, some workbenches, that sort of thing up here. But then I also wanted it to be able to join to the town hall, so that if the clockmaker needed to go over, reference some studying materials, if people just wanted to come in and bring in supplies, or, bring some snacks to the clockmaker while he's working, they just can come straight into the workshop. Now, to come down here, we'll take a look at the plaque. So this was, let me get a little bit closer there. That is the Clock Tower by Minecraft Fantasy Builds. Minecraft Fantasy Builds, again, a lot of really great tutorials for as huge as this building was and as complex as some of the detailing was up around the clock faces. Tutorial was spot on. Almost no questions whatsoever on how to get things to look the way that the builder intended for them. One thing that I did change a little bit, I'm not sure how easy this is going to be to see, but right inside the very peak of the tower there, in between all those spires, I wound up tossing a couple of blocks of glowstone or mushroom lights or something like that. I just wanted to make sure that the very top of the tower was as well lit as the clock face. So, again, wonderful build. Check them out if you're looking for some just amazing things to add to your Minecraft worlds. And then over here, this isn't quite the last thing, but of course I've been working on these roads a lot, trying to get some texturing in. But I built a main gate for our village. Couple of towers flanking it. The interior on these is not finished, but I wanted to go ahead and include this in this video. I am a little superstitious about including things that aren't complete, because it seems like I get into a habit sometimes of showing something that's halfway done, and then I just move on after I've shown it and I never complete it. These projects, however, I'm pretty sure I still have some ideas. I still have some things I want to do. So we're going to buck that superstition and show it off anyway. Of course, this road, we've got a lot more to complete. It just comes out here a little ways. But we've got a couple of guardian statues out front, complete with torches to help keep the area lit up. We've got our towers. We've got this wonderful redstone design for the gate. And then right here, for some reason, we have what looks to be an Enderman milking a cow stuck in a boat. Really not sure what's going on there, but they've been here for a while, and I'm just going to let them live their best life. So, the controls for this are green to open, red to close. Nothing terribly complex, but again, to give credit, this was the easy working castle gate by B-Blocks. You've seen we've had a few other things from B-Blocks in this village build already. He's got wonderful, great ideas, and I'm really not sure. I think it's a he, but anyways, this is a great little gate to add in here. I wasn't 100% sold on the whole, gravity pulling gravel blocks down. I really wanted to find something that would do it with sticky pistons, but in the space I had, and with my knowledge of redstone, sticky piston project like that just wasn't working out. So the gravel works out fine. You barely even notice it when you walk over the threshold of the gate. Especially if you're listening, there's really not much of, you get maybe a single step of that gravel sound. So I don't think it's bad. I really do enjoy the build, and I think it adds a lot to this side of town. Now, there's one other thing that I want to show you that I've been working on lately, in addition to all of these buildings. And this was something that I just had kind of buzzing around the back of my mind a little bit, and it looks like I left one of the manhole covers open here. But we've got some manhole covers around the road here. We've got another one here, we've got one on that end, because I wanted to build a sewer under this area. More of a storm sewer, something to allow the runoff from the rain to be able to, make its way off of this little plateau up here. So down here, and I would like to still do some texturing. It's mostly stone brick. I'd like to add maybe some cracked brick, some more mossy brick. You notice I've got some glow lichen in here, but we've got a nice little kind of oval-shaped sewage system, or storm drainage system down here. I used the soul lanterns because I liked the almost, dimmer look of the light. It's not quite as bright as a regular torch lantern. Now we come over here, and this section is still under construction, and this is actually kind of a lore under construction. This isn't something that I'm still going to be doing a whole lot with. This is pretty much where I want this to be, because as I was digging through here, I ran into a bit of a chasm, and this is a part of a large cave system that I've already explored before, but my sewer system, my drainage system, ran right into this chasm. And so just as part of the story behind everything is the village mason and the engineers were constructing this, they ran into the chasm, and this is just where they've left it for the moment as they work out how they're going to make that join up and not completely collapse. But you notice we have water draining out of one side here, but not the other, because that is technically the downstream side of the drainage. So if I could remember to uncrouch before trying to right-click on things, this would go a lot smoother. So we have this a similar tunnel on this side, except it does not intersect the chasm. This is just a straight shot through, and of course we could climb the ladder up to get up there by the barn if we wanted to. We've got a similar ladder down here on this end, and that's basically the other end of the barn. A little bit of a gap in the wall where some blocks have collapsed, and I haven't really decorated that much yet. And then here we go on the dry side of the chasm where the water can't make it yet. And we got the same sort of sign over here. But you notice I did put in just a couple of little ladders spaced apart so that anybody who falls in doesn't have to like walk all the way back to where the water is to climb up. So we are going to try a little trick here. There we go. I've been making it a challenge to fly in and out of the storm drain just to kind of hone my flying skills a little bit. So the last thing that I wanted to show, and this is part of the sewer system, kind of, it's actually a connection between the wine cellar and the sewer system. I had a lot of ideas of ways that I could connect these two. I had been thinking of maybe a secret door over here in by the giant wine casks, maybe even just some iron grates in the floor that looked down into the sewer that, you know, you could hit a button and open them up. But what I settled on was a little bit of a hidden maintenance hatch. So we come down here, and this is just a bare stone tunnel that's been carved here, but it allows you to get from the inn down into the sewer to do some maintenance work if for some reason you know, the other areas might be blocked off. Maybe there's a heavy rain and you really just can't get in there through the manhole covers. But we've got an iron door, and of course the iron door only opens from one direction because we don't want just anybody sneaking up into the wine cellar. Might wind up with you know, some rats that have difficulty walking. You never know. So we're just going to come down here into the field. I apologize for the rain noise that's going on. We're going to look, you know what? We can take care of that rain, I bet. Let's just come over here and we will have a snooze in the lumberyard house. And maybe when we wake up in the morning, that rain will go away. And there we go, nice sunshiny day again. So there you can see we have the drainage pipe that comes out of the hillside and just drains right back down into the river that circles around this section of the base. Now I've also been working on a large bridge out here. You can kind of see the faint outline of it there because we're going to be continuing this road. This road is going to connect up with that bridge, and it's actually going to keep going on past this next, there's a mountain over there, kind of a low mesa. It's going to connect on over to an area where the rest of my family's been building. But that is my newest update. That is video number 5, I believe, of this village building project that I've been working on. I hope you all have enjoyed. Oh, I just made that Enderman mad because I looked at him when I wasn't supposed to. Let's get away from him. Let's get away from him because nobody wants to hear that. So, yeah, that's it, folks. That's what I've added this time. I hope you've enjoyed this little tour. maybe gotten some ideas of things that you'd like to add to your own builds. And as always, I will try to include the links to the tutorial videos that I followed for all of my new buildings and all of my new projects here. Thank you so much for coming out and watching this video. As always, I enjoy comments. I'll try to get to them as quick as I can. I don't upload frequently, and so sometimes it takes me a little bit to notice that I've got comments on videos. But if you have any questions or any suggestions you'd like to make, go ahead and drop those in the comments. As always, a like or a subscribe would be appreciated. But thank you so much for watching and for taking this journey and learning with me as I build my village. And we will see you all in the next video. Have a great one.